Now let's talk about Drake DJ academics and all the people trying to push this delusional narrative that Kendrick Lamar's hype is fake and his tour is going to flop. That little clown show it's officially over. The most desperate circle of critics and haters is no longer going to get away with the wild lies they've been spreading, because when it comes to Kendrick Lamar's upcoming grand national tour, the numbers speak for themselves. Kendrick is just doing well, is dominating. All 23 shows on the opening leg of this tour are filling up fast, from Drake's own backyard in Toronto to Kendrick's home turf in California. Every venue is packing out. This is just a rap concert. This is a masterclass in live performance and hip-hop artistry on a scale that very few rappers have ever achieved. And now that Kendrick's success is undeniable, Drake seems to be losing it. Really think about it. Kendrick is breaking records, selling out stadiums, and creating cultural moments while Drake is on the sidelines watching it all happen. But before we go deeper, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Now back to it. With the Grand National Tour officially becoming a historic moment in modern hip-hop, all of academics and Drake's narratives are falling apart. Kendrick is on the verge of becoming the first rapper since Jay-Z or Eminem to launch a stadium tour of this magnitude. And now we've got official numbers to confirm how well these shows are performing. The results: Kendrick has sold 90 of the entire ticket allotment across all 23 dates on this first run in the music industry. If a tour hits over 90 sold during this phase, it's a guaranteed sellout. By the time the actual dates come around, those remaining tickets, they'll be gone by showtime, picked up by last-minute fans and walk-ups. But here's where it gets even crazier. Kendrick is averaging 49,000 people per show. That's stadium level, not arena, not amphitheater, stadium. This isn't just another rap tour. This is history in motion. Meanwhile, Drake academics and all the low-ranking OVO affiliates are still out here trying to spin the story like Kendrick is flopping. They're throwing anything they can at the wall, hoping something sticks, saying it's only successful because of SEA, or trying to downplay the venues. But here's the truth: they're grasping at straws, because deep down they know their guy hasn't given them anything to celebrate in a long time, so all they can do is hate on someone who's actually pushing the culture forward. Let's also be clear, Kendrick Lamar is sitting at a table that very few rappers in history have even been invited to. Drake is there, not now, not ever. The only other names you can realistically bring up in this conversation are Jay-Z and Eminem, two artists who co-headlined massive stadium tours with the likes of Beyoncé, Justin Timberlake, and Rihanna. And even then, most of those tours weren't solo rap showcases. Kendrick's tour is his own, no co-headliner, no pop act to carry the load. To put it in perspective, the biggest venues Drake has ever performed at still fall short of what Kendrick is doing with this tour. And that's why the OVO crew is scrambling to come up with excuses. They want to pretend it's SZA who's carrying the weight, or that the tour's success is somehow exaggerated. But no matter how they spin it, they can't deny what's happening. Kendrick is proving that not only is he the most important rapper of this generation, but he's one of the few with the power to actually move the culture in real time and sell out stadiums while doing it. This isn't hype, this is reality. And for anyone still in denial, it might be time to face the music. Let's take a moment to remember something important. Drake has never gone on a solo stadium tour. Not once, even at the height of his powers. He's always needed a co-headliner. Whether it was prime future Migos, J. Cole, Lil Wayne, or 21 Savage, Drake's tours have always leaned on the presence of another act. And yet, even with all that support, the venues he performed in were nowhere near the size of what Kendrick Lamar is about to sell out on his own. In fact, many of them weren't even half the size. So when OVO fans, academics, or anyone in Drake's camp tries to throw dirt on Kendrick's name or downplay what's happening with the Grand National Tour, it's officially time to stop. The numbers are too real. The moment is too big, and the narrative that Kendrick's success is somehow manufactured or overhyped just doesn't work anymore. Kendrick is moving 50,000 to 60,000 tickets per night and doing it effortlessly. These are numbers Drake has never touched and frankly can't even attempt right now without risking embarrassment. Some of these venues Kendrick is performing in are buildings Drake has never even been invited to rock. And if he did try, he'd be staring at empty seats at this point. If you're still trying to discredit Kendrick's milestone run, you're exposing yourself. You're clearly choosing to ignore the truth just to defend Drake, no matter how absurd that defense might be. Because let's be honest, when somebody is selling out entire stadiums in hip-hop, no less you're witnessing a generational moment. Only two rappers have ever reached this level before, Jay-Z and Eminem. And even they were co-headlining with major pop acts like Beyoncé, Justin Timberlake, and Rihanna. Kendrick is doing it alone. In the wider music industry, only a handful of artists are pulling off stadium tours in 2025. We're talking about the elite of the elite: Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, Beyoncé, BTS. Maybe Ed Sheeran now. Kendrick Lamar is right there with them. He's not just leading hip-hop, is standing at the mountaintop of all live music experiences. And to try to discredit that, it just means your agenda is showing. Meanwhile, let's not forget about Drake's own tour woes. Remember that it's all a blur, big as the What Tour, or what fans started calling the Anita Max Tour. Drake himself quietly canceled the remaining dates. Why? Because he was struggling to fill venues that were half the size of what Kendrick is playing now. Let that sink in. Drake couldn't fill 20,000-seat arenas, while Kendrick is effortlessly packing out stadiums double or triple that capacity. That's not a slight difference, it's a massive gulf in cultural relevance. And pull, it's the difference between being a popular artist and being a movement. And if we're being honest, even beyond the ticket sales, Kendrick has proven time and time again that he is a superior performer. His Super Bowl halftime show iconic, his Pulitzer Prize win historic, his concept tours with full narrative arcs, and genre-bending stage production game-changing. He is just showing off as redefining what a hip-hop show can look like. Drake, on the other hand, has built a career more on volume than impact. He releases a lot, he charts a lot, but when it comes to the moments, the once-in-a-generation career peaks, Kendrick is operating on a different level. And right now, that's clearer than ever. So, when you look at the list of artists doing stadium tours and see Kendrick's name right alongside the biggest performers on the planet, just know there are levels to this. Kendrick has reached a tier that Drake is simply not, and not because Drake is popular, but because he has shown the artistic ambition, the live performance talent, or the cultural weight to do what Kendrick is doing now. So as Kendrick's Grand National Tour becomes one of the most significant hip-hop tours of all time, it's going to be interesting to see how Drake's fans and Drake himself try to spin this. Because this is just a win for Kendrick, it's a moment that will be studied, remembered, and talked about for years. And no matter how hard anyone tries to downplay it, the world is watching. The turnout Kendrick Lamar is pulling for these shows is something we haven't seen in hip-hop in a very long time, if ever. And with the numbers continuing to rise, all the noise coming from Drake fans and the academics crowd about Kendrick's success being fake is starting to sound more and more ridiculous. Let's be real, they can't get those jokes off anymore. It's over for that narrative. But you already know they're going to try, they're going to reach hard. They'll call this tour a failure, grasping at anything they can find. The desperation is going to be hilarious to watch because, at this point, it's all they've got. Their only option now is to nitpick things like blocked off sections behind the stage areas that were never available for ticketing and try to twist that into proof the venue is full. But everyone with common sense knows that's a weak argument, because when you actually look at the numbers, Kendrick is doing something historic. And just wait until Kendrick takes the stage. Once this tour officially kicks off and people see what he has planned, it's over. SZA herself said this show is going to be like the Super Bowl times 10. That alone should tell you how serious this production is going to be. The hype has never been higher, and it's all deserved, because what Kendrick is doing right now is just impressive. For a rapper, it's industry-defining across all of music. Let's look at the numbers again. Kendrick's tour is selling out stadiums, not arenas. We're talking about venues with 50,000 to 60,000 people per night. That's something only a handful of artists in the entire world can pull off, not just in hip-hop, period. And to break down what that means, Kendrick is just keeping up with the biggest names in music right now. He is the biggest name. Think about what he did at the Super Bowl. Kendrick brought real hip-hop to the world's biggest stage. It wasn't watered down, it was pop-infused, it was authentic, raw, and powerful. And it became one of the most iconic halftime shows in recent memory. That wasn't a fluke. That was a glimpse of what Kendrick brings every time he performs. So it's no surprise that since Like That dropped, Kendrick has been on a tear. The energy around him is electric. And the way people are reacting to this tour shows how badly fans have been waiting for something like this, a real artist doing something real. And yet, even in the face of all this success, Drake fans are still trying to push the idea that Kendrick is somehow doing the worst things for hip-hop, that he's fake, that he's falling off. But when you break it down, Kendrick's tour is one of the best things to happen to the genre in a very long time. Let's not forget, before this new era Kendrick ushered in, there was a real fear that larger-scale rap tours like this were a thing of the past. Drake was out here doing the bare minimum co-headlining tour after tour, relying on names like 21 Savage, Lil Wayne, and J. Cole, just to keep people interested. And even with that support, those shows weren't pushing the culture forward. They were repetitive, lazy, soulless. It was starting to feel like hip-hop had hit a ceiling in a live space, like after Jay's and Eminem showed what was possible with big arena and stadium tours. The genre was regressing. People were starting to wonder, can a rapper still command the stage at that level? Can rap be exciting again in a live setting? And now Kendrick has answered that question loud and clear: yes. Not only is it possibly necessary, Kendrick Lamar is showing the world what a rap tour should look like: creative direction, attention to detail, a light-level performance, stadium-level energy. Has reintroducing the idea that hip-hop can still be the most exciting live genre on earth. And make no mistake, this tour isn't just a win for Kendrick, it's a win for the culture. Because now we're seeing that stadium tours in hip-hop aren't just a dream or a relic of the past. They're real, they're happening. And Kendrick is leading the way. That's why the critics are scrambling. That's why OVO fans are nervous. Because the guy they've been pretending is boring, irrelevant, or washed just launched a tour that's about to redefine live rap performance. This is fake hype. This is label push. This is earned. Kendrick Lamar built this moment brick by brick through the music, through the message, and through the undeniable respect he's earned from fans around the world. So when you see those inevitable clips floating around online, if ones have blocked off seats behind the stage that were never meant for ticketing, just laugh. Because the people posting those are losing the battle, and they know it. This is Kendrick's moment. And if the early signs are any indication, it's about to be one of the most legendary runs in music history. What we're witnessing with this Kendrick Lamar Grand National Tour is not just a moment, it's a movement. And what makes it even more special is the chemistry between the artists involved. This isn't just a random lineup thrown together for ticket sales. This is a cohesive experience, a reflection of a shared history, sound, and cultural impact. Kendrick, SZA, and DG Mustard all come from the same soil, whether it's TDE, the West Coast, or the larger creative circles they've built over the years. That kind of synergy is rare, and it's what makes this tour feel intentional, curated, and historic. Kendrick and SZA have been connected through TDE for years, both carving out their lanes while lifting each other up. DG Mustard, also a West Coast titan, brings the sound of LA to the table. His not just opening with generic DG setches, setting the tone for a celebration of West Coast excellence. When you combine all of that with the visual production, setlist construction, and artistic vision, Kendrick is known for what you get is more than a concert. You get an experience that's bigger than the artists themselves. You get a cultural moment. And the industry is watching, because what Kendrick and this tour are showing the world is that hip-hop can not only belong in stadiums, it can thrive in them. It's proof that with the right alignment of artists who share history, sonics, and authenticity, hip-hop stadium tours can be just as powerful, if not more impactful, than anything we see from pop or rock acts. That's why the success of this tour matters so much, because it doesn't just say something about Kendrick, it says something about the future of hip-hop. It tells us that collectives, labels, and crews still matter, that there's value in building rosters of artists who work together and grow together. It tells us that when you create something that represents more than just you, when you tap into a deeper sense of community and purpose, you can create a wave that moves the entire genre forward. And we're already seeing how this strategy is influencing other major acts. Look at The Weeknd's upcoming tour. He's rolling out a trio of his own himself, Playboi Carti and Mike Dean. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because it mirrors exactly what Kendrick is doing. All three of them have been working closely together, shaping each other's sounds across recent albums and performances. That trio is the XO Carti Dean equivalent of Kendrick, SZA, Mustard. It's that same formula: cohesion, familiarity, and sonic storytelling brought to a stadium setting. Even Playboi Carti's, seen as too experimental or unpredictable for the mainstream, is now being positioned as part of a stadium-sized show. That's what Kendrick's tour is helping shift the perception of what hip-hop can be in the live space. It's no longer just about arena tours with big names slapped together. It's about curated experiences with chemistry and a shared vision. And this is just the beginning. Once this Kendrick tour kicks off and sets a new benchmark, other artists and crews are going to follow. Travis Scott, for example, already has the blueprint. Has played MetLife, Sophie, and other stadiums during his Circus Maximus tour. If there's anyone next in line to follow Kendrick's model, it's Travis. He's got his own roster ready. Don Toliver, Sheck Wes, and even some of his Cactus Jack affiliates could easily round out a stadium experience rooted in the same kind of cohesion and musical evolution we're seeing from Kendrick's camp. And who knows what else this could inspire. Maybe Tyler, the creator links up with Frank Ocean for one last run. Maybe Eminem pulls together a tour with 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, and Dr. Dre bringing the legends back for a final lap. Maybe Dreamville sees this and says, why not us with J. Cole, Ari Lennox, Earth Gang, and JID? This can be the spark that brings back the era of rap collectives dominating the live space, not just opening up for each other in arenas, but owning entire stadiums across the world. Because stadium touring is the pinnacle of an artist's career, it's not just about the money or the size of the crowd, it's about the cultural footprint. It's about proving that your music, your movement, and your message are big enough to fill 60,000 seats, and Kendrick is doing that with a level of grace, precision, and intentionality that hasn't been seen since the likes of Jay-Z and Eminem co-headlined stadiums a decade ago. But the difference now is that Kendrick is doing it solo with a curated cast of collaborators who aren't just there for name value, they're there because they belong. That's the difference, that's the bar he's setting, and that's the future he's building. This tour is about more than just Kendrick, it's about what happens when you elevate the culture in its purest form, when you bring the best of hip-hop together in a way that celebrates its roots, its present, and its future. The Grand National Tour is going to be remembered as a turning point, and the ripple effect it sends across the industry is only just beginning. Just like when legends like Jay-Z and Eminem first broke through the barriers that kept hip-hop out of arenas, proving to the world that rap could not only exist, but thrive in larger-scale venues. Where now watching Kendrick Lamar do something equally historic, only this time it's not about proving that rap belongs in arenas. Kendrick is showing us that hip-hop can take over stadiums, the biggest, most iconic venues in music, and do it with style, substance, and record-breaking numbers. This is just another tour. What Kendrick is doing with the Grand National Tour is redefining how live hip-hop can be experienced. And it's already inspiring a wave of others. Playboi Carti is following the blueprint. Travis Scott, who's already touched stadium stages, has expressed his desire to do something even bigger. And with the numbers Kendrick is doing right now, consistently pushing 50,000 to 60,000 tickets per show, where not just seeing a moment, we're witnessing a turning point for the entire genre. Kendrick Lamar is on track to not only solidify his position as one of the greatest performers in hip-hop, but also unlock a level of opportunity that no rapper before him has truly reached. This tour is about more than just Kendrick, it's about legacy, influence, and paving a path that others can now follow. Because when we talk about impact, when we talk about what you've done for the culture, Kendrick's name rises to the top every single time. While some artists are out here trying to control narratives and silence voices, we're looking at Drake, and the fallout from Not Like You's Kendrick is showing us what leadership in hip-hop really looks like. It's showing that you can still make a lyrical three-verse, culture-shifting anthem and have it dominate the charts, that you can headline the biggest Super Bowl halftime show in history while staying rooted in the soul of the genre, that you can build something authentic, powerful, and universally acclaimed without watering anything down. Kendrick is just winning, is elevating hip-hop every time he touches a mic or a stage. And this tour proves that, because, once again, Kendrick is taking rap further than anyone else has, bringing the genre to a level of artistry and mass appeal that some didn't even think was possible. Has doing it his way too. No industry gimmicks, no forced collaborations, just vision, execution, and greatness. Every stadium he enters will be packed. Every show will be a moment in hip-hop history. And while Drake and his OVO crew continue spiraling, pushing desperate narratives to discredit Kendrick, it's becoming more and more obvious with each passing day that they simply can't keep up. Drake's trying to erase the voices of others, while Kendrick's out here giving people something to believe in, something to celebrate. And that's why he's winning. That's why he's the undisputed king of hip-hop right now. What Kendrick's doing with this Grand National Tour is just special. It's unmatched. He's defining an era. He's building a legacy so undeniable that even its harshest critics can't look away. And what makes it even more meaningful is that we, the fans, get to witness it all live. We get to be a part of the moment. This is something happening behind closed doors. It's a celebration being played out in front of the world, one stadium at a time. So let's take a moment to appreciate just how monumental this is. For years, there's been conversation about whether hip-hop could ever dominate the live stage like pop and rock acts do. J and M opened that door. Kendrick is walking straight through it and turning that door into a gate for others to follow. This tour is going to influence an entire generation of artists, labels, and creatives who now realize that the ceiling is way higher than they thought. And that's the mark of true greatness, not just elevating yourself, but changing the game for everyone else who comes after you. So with all of that said, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Kendrick Lamar's Grand National Tour? What does it say about the state of hip-hop? How do you think these shows are going to go? And most importantly, where do you see this leading for the future of the genre? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read all of them, and I really want to know what you think. If you made it this far into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton and keeps these conversations going. And trust me, as we enter what could be one of the greatest runs in hip-hop tour history, you're not going to want to miss what's coming next. And speaking of what's coming next, if you want to see how right before all this, another thing went wrong for Drake after Kai Cenat finally called him out and Drake lost one of the few people still backing him publicly. Check out the suggested video on screen now.